That's Amil, there's Adi, and today we're going to talk about Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani.
22 तक पढ़ाई, 25 पे नौकरी, 26 पे छोकरी, 30 पे बच्चे, 60 पे रिटायरमेंट और फिर मौत का इंतजार। ऐसी घिसी पिटी लाइफ थोड़ी जीना चाहता हूं।
A movie which probably all of us have seen multiple times. I've watched it, I think, more than 10 times at this point. And I've watched it with Amil, I've watched it with so many other people. I think this is one movie I can watch any given time of the day or year. I'll just watch it. And I personally love the movie. It's been 7 years since it's come out. And I guess Amil likes the movie as well. And Amil can start on that.
Yeah, I like it. No, what I wanted to ask you is what do you think? How's your view of the film changed over the past 7 years or so since it came out? Since like you first saw it
Uh,
and
I think it came out in 2013, right? And since
yes.
then, I've been to Manali twice. Once with family, once with friends. And like the two experiences were really different. And I think that is one of the reasons I can relate to the movie so much because like the bit where they're going, Kabir is going to Manali with all his friends and the way they're enjoying, that is something I relate to 100%. And also the bit where like they drift apart and then they get back together so after a certain number of years or whatever, like there's a big event and everyone comes back in, and even though they haven't been in touch, they pick right off, like they just get along absolutely, like, well, not fine, they do have fights, but they get along, right? And I think this is something that is going to happen to us also eventually with a lot of our friends, and that is how it's going to be. So yeah, I really like the movie, and every time I saw it, I felt something different. Like I was watching it today, and now that university is over, it really does feel like something different.
and also like Pahad kitte achhe hain yaar. Just miss it so much. Oh,
Take
Pahad.
me to the hashtag Wanderlust.
Yeah. And yeah, when I watched it the first time in theaters, I thought it was okay. Mainly because I really enjoyed the first half, which was like the Manali stuff, and it was 2013, so I was 16, still in school. We hadn't like really done trips like that at all yet, so like that was what was appealing to me. And I thought the second half was like a drag, and it was like, oh, everyone's sad now, and Deepika's crying again. But as time's gone by, it's not like the writing of the movie has done it any favors. Like some parts of it are much more cringy than I remember them being. Like the whole Jumma Chumma Dede scene is so I skip it now. I used to love it. I skip the scene now. But yeah, I found new respect for the second half because the first half of it is sort of I was in that age when I watched it when I was like 16 and like still in school. School's about to end in a few years. You want to have fun and everything, and so I relate to that. But at the midway point when they finally the Manali trip ends and it's revealed that Ranbir Kapoor has been given a scholarship or something in New York or someplace.
No, yeah, Northwestern University.
Northwestern University, how could I forget? And he is going to go away and he's supposedly going to move on. And then the second half of the movie happens and it does a nice like switch, which is that it picks off like 5 to 8 years after. And
Yeah,
after like
they're all well settled.
yeah, it's 8 years later, and when these characters interact again for the first time after that long, you're made to realize not as much the dialogue. It's not like overtly said, but like just thinking about it, I realized that Ranbir Kapoor is the only character that doesn't actually move forward in life. He's still stuck like where he was 8 years ago. He still has the same ideologies. He's been living the life he's always dreamed of, but he's not really grown. But everyone else around him, like Aditi is getting married, she's grown like mentally, and there's an appearance change. His friend Avi has become an alcoholic because of like the shitstorms life has thrown at him. And what was Nana? Even Nana's become like a more like heightened person of what she was during the Manali trip. And like Bunny is still the same, although he was set up as the character which was supposed to be the one who's moving forward in life while everyone else is not. He's the one who's still stuck like 8 years ago. He's the same person. Everyone else has changed. That's really interesting. That's something I didn't notice like after the first few times I watched it. And I think also because we've grown since the movie came out. Like we were 16, now we're 23. It's like exactly 7, 8 years later, and we were sort of in the second half of uh the film in relative to our life. So yeah, and that's interesting to me. And like as you said, like we've in that time in those 7 years we've been to Manali, we've been to Europe, we've traveled alone in Europe, we've traveled together in Europe, and like we've all sort of felt those things that you know sort of shows you that this person's feeling. Like everyone thinks like Ilahi is a really cheerful song, but it's really not. It's a song about loneliness. Uh, that song is so lonely, it hurts.
Yeah, it really. Even Kabira, like it's a very sad song. Like people play Kabira in happy festivals. Like I remember I played Kabira in one of the happy festivals, happy whatever. But it's a really sad song, and just the general theme of the movie is such like they all get together, and then they all disperse, and then they get together again for the event, but eventually they all disperse again. Like Aditi and the her husband, they go for the honeymoon. Avi's bar is shutting down. Naina and Kabir, they get married and they'll probably leave because Kabir said कि मैं अब तक अपनी जिंदगी एक टिकट पे जी रहा था, अब मैं दो टिकट पे जीना चाहता हूँ, something like that. But that I think that's something that's a harsh reality of life, that it's so uncertain that people get together and then they disappear from each other's lives and then they come back. But it's a good movie. I would hope I do hope they make such movies again sometime, because Bollywood really went quite downhill after a certain point, and this was peak Bollywood.
Yeah, and I think it's also because the director Ayan Mukherjee, I think he was pretty much our age, like 23 or 25 around that time, 7 years ago, because he's the same age as Ranbir, who's like 33 or something. So he must be been around 25. So I'm pretty sure like he wrote this and directed this the way he's lived life. And that's what is interesting. Like as time goes by, you start to sort of understand things differently about the movie, which is good. That's why looking back on it, you like if your perspective of it changes because you've changed. And that's why the second half is much more interesting than the first, because the first just like, hey, Manali, like trekking, Holi. We've also been to Himachal
First
during Holi.
half,
It's something we've done.
first one,
The entirety of first half was a Make My Trip ka commercial. That is what it was.
Yeah.
There was no other point. They could have done it differently, but it was a Make My Trip ka commercial. But that's about it. Like, we just wanted to give our quick thoughts on Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani, and we'll try and do more of these where we just take 10 minutes and we quickly discuss a movie or two, and how they relate and how they have aged over time like fine wine. And that's Amil, there's Adi. Like, subscribe, like if you liked it, dislike if you please don't dislike. Uh, subscribe to our channel, tell us what we should review next, and good night.